Would you believe me if I told you that women can tell a man is weak before he ever says a word? It's not anything you wear. Your sleeve, posture, tone, and overall manner of carrying yourself in life. While most men are totally unaware of these cues, women are able to recognize them right away. This isn't just intuition, it's psychology. Evolution wired women to seek strength, not brute physical dominance, but emotional resilience, leadership, and self assurance. When a man lacks these attributes, it's like a silent alarm going off in her subconscious mind. However, the problem is that weakness isn't what you think it is. It's not about failing or making mistakes. Those are parts of growth. Instead, weakness is your inability to handle adversity, your obsession with validation, and your lack of emotional control. As Stoics, we know that true strength comes from within. It's not about external bravado, but mastering your thoughts, responses, and reactions. Today, we're going to break down 7 ways that women frequently perceive your weaknesses without you even recognizing it. Once you identify these patterns, stop them and see how others react differently to your presence as you pursue ongoing validation. Psychologists refer to this as external locus of control, where your sense of value is determined by external opinions rather than your own internal values. One of the most obvious indicators of weakness is a man's need for approval. Women can tell when your confidence depends on their attention or praise, and nothing turns them off more quickly. Men who are continuously looking for approval are like empty vessels that are waiting to be filled by someone else. This leads to a situation where you have to perform continually and be sufficient. How does this manifest? To avoid disagreement, you adjust your views to meet hers and become frantic for likes on social media or SMS. Do you think I did a good job? You fish for compliments. Seek not the good in external things, Epicus stated. Instead of seeking acceptance from others, look within yourself and create your own success criteria. Ask yourself if you lived today in accordance with your values, and if you acted bravely and honestly. If the answer is yes, you don't need praise. Being internally validated allows you to portray strength without uttering a word and avoid disagreement at all costs, which is why women are drawn to self-assured guys who don't require continual reinforcement. In psychology, this is known as submissive communication, where you suppress your own needs to maintain the peace over time, creating resentment both within yourself and from others who sense your lack of backbone. Weak men fear conflict because they mistake being agreeable for being likable, believing that saying yes to everything will make them more attractive. However, women see right through this and lose respect for it. How does this manifest itself when you agree with viewpoints you don't share in order to diffuse a heated situation? Apologize profusely even when you have done nothing wrong, and promptly back down when questioned. Marcus Aurelius tells us that the goal of life is to avoid falling into the ranks of the mad rather than to support the majority. Stoicism does not imply avoiding confrontation. Rather, it refers to handling it sensibly and composedly when called for. Practice aggressive communication. Voice your thoughts politely, clearly, and without becoming aggressive. Remember that power isn't about domination, but rather about understanding when to speak and when to remain silent without letting fear dictate your decisions. Women respect guys who stand their ground with dignity. 3. Your emotions are out of control. Women are extremely sensitive to emotional instability, whether it manifests as angry outbursts, envy, or insecurity. These behaviors scream weakness because they indicate a lack of self-mastery. A man who is driven solely by his emotions is like a ship adrift at sea. Emotional instability frequently results from inadequate coping strategies and ignorance. How does this manifest itself when you react hastily out of fear or ego rather than calmly contemplating your feelings? You overreact to small inconveniences and get indignant when someone criticizes you. When she converses with other men, you become envious. The Stoic remedy, according to Seneca, we experience more emotional suffering in our dreams than in real life. The first step toward mastery is realizing that your emotions are only fleeting responses to outside circumstances, not facts. When you're feeling angry or insecure, engage in mindfulness and introspection. Over time, rising, pausing, breathing, and observing the feeling without acting on it fosters calm and resilience. Women find pressure to be quite attractive. A man who can maintain composure in the face of chaos conveys strength far more potent than any outward manifestation. The phrase goes, "A lion doesn't have to tell you it's a lion yet." But far too many men fall into the trap of talking incessantly about their goals, aspirations, and skills without ever providing evidence of their value. Women recognize this right away. They hear the grandiose declarations, the lofty pledges, and the never ending plans for the future, and they know it's all bullshit. Why does this indicate weakness, since inaction and insecurity are disguised by talk? It's an effort to find approval through verbal displays as opposed to concrete outcomes. A man who talks nonstop but does nothing shows that he lacks confidence and is attempting to persuade himself and others that he is capable. The irony is that this conduct stems from what psychologists refer to as impression management, the desire to influence how other people perceive you. The more you discuss what you want to accomplish, the less spectacular you seem. Cheap action is uncommon. Men who discreetly provide outcomes instead of just making promises are respected by women. Listens. A man who constantly boasts about his future accomplishments is a clue that she is dealing with someone who lacks self-control and follow-through. He is not a builder, but rather a dreamer trapped in idle fantasy. Some warning signs that you might be slipping into this trap include: you make promises you can't or won't keep, and you continuously talk about your ambitions, but never take concrete action to reach them. A man who talks more than he does develops into someone predictable and unreliable. Women are drawn to people who act in the other way, those who move quietly and surprise people with their achievements rather than their hollow claims. 5. You blame other people for your difficulties. If a man doesn't accept responsibility for his life, he might as well advertise his weakness with a neon sign. Nothing irritates a woman more than a man who continuously blames the outside world for his flaws and plays the victim. This conduct results from a weak ego that is unable to cope with failure. Assigning blame to others is a defensive tactic. It protects you from the hard truth that your issues are frequently self-inflicted. But the catch is that if you refuse to accept responsibility, you also give up the opportunity to alter your situation. Women are naturally aware of this. They understand that a man who places blame on others will never mature and will instead wallow in his own misery, never rising to the hardships of life. Having a head-on attitude like this indicates weakness since it lacks resilience. How does emotional intelligence and maturity show up in your day-to-day life? You complain about your coworkers, your boss, or your job without taking action to advance your career. You blame your ex for the breakdown of your previous relationships without accepting responsibility for your own part. You attribute your lack of success to bad luck rather than owning up to your mistakes. Women are attracted to men who take responsibility for their errors because it demonstrates strength and the ability to overcome hardship and learn from it. On the other hand, a man who refuses to take charge becomes stuck, unattractive, and incapable of saying no. Women can recognize this right away and may initially appreciate your willingness to be accommodating. But over time, this behavior indicates a deeper issue, a lack of self respect. When you say yes to everything, you're not being kind or generous. You're being spineless. You turn into a people pleaser who goes above and beyond to win approval and avoid conflict. Here's the harsh reality. People, especially women, don't respect people who can't advocate for themselves. The inability to say no is frequently caused by fear of rejection, fear of disappointing others, and fear of conflict. But this constant compliance leads to a vicious cycle where the more you say yes to things you don't want to do, the more people expect you to do them, and eventually you lose control of your own life and become a passive participant rather than an active leader. How does this weakness manifest itself? You accept social events or favors even when you're tired or uninterested, allowing others to use your time and energy without protest. You avoid saying no because you don't want to come across as rude or self centered. Men with strong limits and the guts to uphold them are respected by women. When a man says no when it's necessary, it shows strength, confidence, and self respect. When you lack purpose, you seem as weak and easily influenced, which rapidly erodes attraction. A man who floats aimlessly through life is possibly the most telling symptom of weakness. Women are attracted to guys who live intentionally, who have a goal, a passion, or a purpose that propels them forward. A man without a purpose, however, fades into the background and becomes just another useless. Having a reason to wake up in the morning, a goal, a passion, or a set of ideals that direct your behavior is what defines a wanderer's purpose. Without it, life becomes meaningless and void, characterized by distraction. Activities. The following actions are frequently displayed by a man who lacks purpose. He drifts from job to job without a defined career path or ambition, prioritizing flying, and spends hours reading around social media or binge watching TV without feeling accomplished. The role of material belongings or pointless hookups in long term development. When a man has a purpose, everything about him changes. He moves with confidence and speaks with conviction. He doesn't need to seek validation because his fulfillment comes from within. Attraction isn't just about looks or charm. It's about the life force you carry, and purpose is the foundation of that force. Without it, you become forgettable. With it, you become unforgettable. Women can tell when a man lacks purpose because it radiates from your actions, conversations, and even your body language. 7 ways women might see weakness before you even notice it yourself. However, the truth is that identifying these patterns is about self mastery rather than getting fixated on getting approval from others or controlling how other people perceive you. If you found value in today's video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Stoic Guide. The Stoic Path teaches us that true strength starts within when you develop emotional control, confidence rooted in action, and a clear sense of purpose. You naturally project power without saying a word, and women notice it, people respect it, and most importantly, you respect yourself. We're here to support you in living a wise, strong, and purposeful life. Stay disciplined and grounded, and I'll see you soon.